Let's see now the nutrition. Nutrition is the interaction between an organism and its food. And there are many governmental initiatives. The main one is choosemyplate.org that offers a customized approach to nutritional planning. Over there on this website, they divide food into 5 groups and they provide a recommendation on what to eat from each group. And these, recommendations are controlled by several factors from the users, like their age, gender, height, weight, and their physical activity. So the whole idea is that you are getting a plate, and that plate indicates how much you are going to eat from each type of food, including the dairy, to maintain a healthy weight. Now, there are general recommendations that, for example, you will eat a variety of food, maintain a healthy weight, eat plenty of fruits, vegetables, and whole grain, consume sugars only in moderation if ever you want, consume salt, not more than 1 teaspoon of salt per day, and usually we tend to eat more than 1 teaspoon per day. And if you drink alcohol, then do it in moderation. Carbohydrates are the major energy source in our body. Of caloric intake, we should have 45 to 65% of energy coming from carbohydrates. In reality, we usually tend to have more energy coming from the carbohydrates. We have 2 types. We have simple carbohydrates like sugars, the usual sugar, and we have complex carbohydrates like starch, glycogen, and fibers. Recommendations are that you try to eat more of the complex carbohydrates and minimize the simple carbohydrates, because this will take time to be broken. The complex carbohydrates will take more time to be broken, more time to be absorbed than the simple carbohydrates. The second group is the lipids. And lipids are essential cell component, and they are also energy source. We have several types of lipids. We have the saturated fat. These are coming from meat, dairy products, palm oil, for example, and they tend to raise the LDL, or the bad cholesterol. Then we have the unsaturated fat, like plant sources oils, such as olive, safflower, corn, canola oils, and certain cold water fish like omega-3 fatty acids, like in salmon, for example. These unsaturated fats will tend to lower the LDL, the bad cholesterol, and they have been linked to reduced risk of heart disease. The third group is the trans fats. These are produced by hydrogenation of vegetable oils, and also these are raising the bad cholesterol. So you tend to lower the trans fat, or try to lower the trans fat and saturated fat composition in your diet, and increase the unsaturated fat. For the proteins, we have, as we understand, that the proteins are made out of amino acids, and we have 20 types of amino acids. 12 of them can be made by human body, but there are essential 8 amino acids that we cannot produce by within our body, and must be ingested by foods. Complete protein food, they will contain all the 20 amino acids. And this includes most animal proteins and soy protein, whereas we have another group of incomplete proteins. These are lack one or more essential amino acids. This is many plant protein. This is some examples of complete protein food, incomplete, and several types of incomplete protein food. Vitamins are essential for normal functions. We need at least 13 different types of vitamins. we can categorize them whether they are fat soluble, so it means that they are absorbed with fat and stored in adipose tissue, or water soluble, they are stored only briefly and they must be consumed on regular basis, like vitamin C, for example. So this table would summarize different types of vitamins, from where to get them, their primary functions, and what will happen if we are having very few of them, so there is like a deficiency, or we have so much of them. Minerals are also important. We need around 21 essential minerals. They play different roles in ion, for example, in blood plasma and cell cytoplasm. They play chemical structure of bone, like calcium phosphate. They play very important functions in nerve and muscle activities, like sodium, potassium, calcium. They are recommended dietary allowance, which will indicate how much of each vitamin and mineral individual needs on a daily basis. These are the major ones, from where to get them, their primary functions, and signs of deficiency, and signs of extreme excess of these minerals. Just take a look on these tables. Now, fibers are part of the carbohydrate group that provide a great benefit to the colon. Fiber sources, vegetables, fruit, whole grains, and these are indigestible materials, so they will contribute bulk to the feces. So what is the idea of them? The idea is that fibers can bind cholesterol. They can bind lipids and fats. And since they are indigestible, so they will take with them, when we eliminate them through feces, they will take with them the excessive amount of fat and lipids they bind to. So usually what will happen if we have a low fiber diet, we will have chronic constipation, hemorrhoids, diverticulosis, and also it might be associated with higher risk of colon cancer. So fibers are very important component of a healthy diet and should be consumed regularly. Now, to understand how we can get appropriate food, we need to understand the food labels. These would provide important information on serving size, serving per packages, calories per serving, percent of recommended daily allowance, listing of amount of certain nutrients, and list of ingredients in order by weight. So this is a typical nutrition fact label, and as you can see, it has different types of information, and it is better and highly recommended to check these nutrition facts of everything you are buying or eating, so you would have a control over your calories, a control over the fat, a control over carbohydrates, a control over sodium you are consuming, a control over protein. This will help you to maintain a healthy diet, to maintain weight, and to observe what are you eating. Then it provides a percentage of what you need based on a 2000 calorie diet. The other thing related to nutrition is the energy balance. And of course, nutrition, or the whole idea of nutrients, is to provide energy. Our body has a basic metabolic rate. This is the energy needed by the body to perform essential activities, except the physical activity. Essential activities meaning like breathing, muscle contractions, smooth muscles contraction, brain functions, and so on. So we're not talking about physical activities like running or jogging or swimming and so on. The basal metabolic rate will determine the daily calories need, and there are several factors that influencing them. And for most of the people, they spend around 50% to 100% of energy higher than their basic metabolic rate due to physical activity. However, although we are saying that most of the people will spend 50 to 100% of energy more than their basic metabolic rate, it's very easy to consume even more nutrients, more calories than what we actually need, even with the extra activities or extra physical activities we are doing. And that would lead to obesity and other diseases. So in reality, we must balance energy intake with energy expenditure. As I said, excessive calories intake would lead to increased storage of fat, and this will lead to weight gain. And what we'll have that the number of fat cells likely is determined by adulthood. So we cannot decrease this number beyond the adulthood. What will happen is when we are losing fat, the cells are going to shrink. However, they can refill immediately or very quickly by any excessive amount of calories we are eating. So when you are trying to lose fat, technically you are not reducing the number of fat cells, you are only shrinking the fat within these cells. And you need around 3,500 calories to be spent in order to reduce 1 pound of fat. And if you think this is an easy number, this is not an easy number to perform, or this is not an easy amount of calories to really consume. Now, of course, healthy weight would improve overall health. Obesity would increase the risk of heart disease, diabetes, cancer, arthritis, and other health problems. And we have the BMI, the body mass index, although many scientists believe that this is not so accurate, but so far it has been used. BMI between 18.5 and 25 is healthy, between 25 and 30 is overweight, and more than 30 is considered obese. As I said, there are several inaccuracies regarding BMI, because it overestimates the body fat in very muscular or heavy bonded individuals. So for example, if an individual is really healthy with a very low fat, with a very low amount of fat in their bodies, BMI would still consider them obese because its numbers are more than 30, for example. And also it may underestimate the body fat in people who have lost muscle mass. So these are just like a set or a couple of inaccuracies regarding BMI. There are plenty of other inaccuracies around it. So this is the chart. Usually it refers to the height, it refers to the weight, and here are the categories that determine the people whether they are underweight, healthy weight, overweight, or obese. Now, I believe for the rest of the slides, and they are not so much slides, there is nothing really I want to talk about. They are pretty straightforward slides. So please go through them, post your comments, thoughts, ideas, or videos in the forum, and let us know, for example, if you are looking the nutrition facts before you buy anything, or before you buy any processed food, if you have ever used it or looked at it, or at least check the amount of calories in the food you are eating.